Hey, hold on. Yo, where we going?
To the chip!
We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip! We going to the chip!
Police have now ruled the deaths of a couple in Burlington Township last week a murder-suicide. Police found the bodies of 30-year-old Kristopher Corry and 28-year-old Tianna Drummond Thursday morning at the Willow Point Apartments. Officers say an investigation revealed that Corry fatally beat Drummond before shooting himself. Police responded to the apartment after a neighbor called saying she heard arguing.
It's January 2nd, 2020, in Burlington Township, New Jersey. The sun is barely creeping over the horizon, casting long shadows across the frost-covered lawns of Willow Point Apartments. In this close-knit community, where neighbors wave to each other and children's laughter echoes from nearby football fields, the morning feels like any other winter day. But inside one apartment, behind an ordinary door marked 3B, a nightmare is unfolding. A woman's screams pierce the stillness of the night. Not once, not twice, but for hours. They're desperate, raw, and filled with terror. Below, a neighbor lies awake, her heart pounding, clutching her phone as she makes a decision that will change everything. If you come right now, you will hear the lady screaming, she tells the 911 operator, her voice trembling with exhaustion and fear. It's been all night. I didn't sleep all night, me and my little son. Those words, spoken just before 8:45 a.m., would unravel a tragedy so devastating it would leave a community shattered, 2 young boys orphaned, and a question that haunts us all. How well do we really know the people living just feet away from us? This is Dark Truth Files, where we uncover the stories that linger in the shadows of everyday life. Stories of love, loss, and unthinkable violence. Today, we dive into the heartbreaking case of Tianna Drummond and Kristopher Corry, a couple whose public lives painted a picture of dedication and community spirit, but whose private reality ended in a murder-suicide that no one saw coming. Tianna Drummond was a 28-year-old mother of 2, a Full Sail University graduate, and a pillar of her community. She was the kind of woman who lit up a room, who organized fundraisers for youth sports, and who poured her heart into raising her sons, Guju and KJ. Kristopher Corry, 30, was a beloved youth football coach for the Burlington City Blue Devils, a man who taught young boys about teamwork, respect, and perseverance. To the outside world, they were a family building a life together, filled with love and purpose. But on that fateful morning in January 2020, the truth behind their closed door would come to light. A truth so horrific, it would leave neighbors, friends, and an entire community grappling with disbelief. What happened inside that apartment? What drove a man who mentored children to commit an act of unimaginable violence against the woman he loved? And what can this tragedy teach us about the hidden struggles that may be unfolding right next door? Stay with us as we unravel the layers of this case, from the vibrant lives of Tianna and Kristopher to the chilling events that ended them. If you're new here, kindly hit that subscribe button and join our community of truth seekers. Let's dive into the darkness together. The Willow Point tragedy isn't just a story of a single night of violence. It's a story about the masks we wear, the secrets we keep, and the devastating consequences when those secrets erupt. It's about a mother whose love for her children was her legacy, and a coach whose public persona hid a private darkness. It's about 2 young boys left to navigate a world without the parents they knew. And it's about a community forced to confront the reality that even in the tightest-knit neighborhoods, danger can lurk behind closed doors. As we piece together this case, we'll explore the societal and psychological factors that may have contributed to this tragedy, and we'll honor the memory of those affected by it. This is a story that will grip you, haunt you, and make you question what you think you know about the people around you. Burlington Township, New Jersey, is the kind of place where community matters. In 2020, it was home to about 22,000 people, a diverse suburb where families gathered for youth sports, local businesses supported school teams, and neighbors knew each other by name. The Willow Point Apartments on Salem Road were a hub for working-class families, with tidy lawns and seasonal decorations marking the rhythm of the year. It was here, in apartment 3B, that Tianna Drummond and Kristopher Corry built their life together with Tianna's 2 sons. To outsiders, their home was a picture of normalcy. Framed photos of football victories on the walls, children's artwork on the fridge, and a wreath on the door that changed with the holidays. But on January 2nd, 2020, that normalcy would be shattered forever. What makes this case so chilling is how ordinary it seemed, until it wasn't. The neighbor's 911 call wasn't the first sign of trouble, but it was the one that couldn't be ignored. Tianna Drummond was more than a name in a news headline. She was a 28-year-old woman whose life was defined by her love for her 2 sons, her ambition, and her ability to bring people together. Born and raised in New Jersey, Tianna was a force of nature, a woman who balanced motherhood, education, and community involvement with a grace that left everyone in awe. Her story is one of resilience, determination, and a deep commitment to leaving a positive mark on the world. In 2016, Tianna graduated from Full Sail University with a bachelor's degree in entertainment management. This wasn't a small feat. As a single mother raising 2 young boys, Guju, who was 10 at the time of her death, and KJ, who was 5, Tianna juggled late-night study sessions, parenting responsibilities, and her passion for field hockey. She didn't just graduate, she excelled, earning membership in an honor society while managing a household and cheering for her sons at their games. Her academic journey was a testament to her strength, a woman who refused to let obstacles define her. Tianna's world revolved around Guju and KJ. Her social media posts were a vibrant tapestry of their lives, snapshots of beach trips, shopping excursions, and proud moments at school and sports events. Just 10 days before her death, on December 23, 2019, Tianna posted a heartfelt birthday message to her oldest son, Guju, on Facebook. Her words, now a haunting echo of her love. The most important mark I will leave on this world is my son. One of the most amazing kids I know. I don't think I could have asked for a more perfect son. From your charisma, athleticism, and intelligence, you literally put your all into everything you do, and I couldn't be more proud. Having you at such a young age, we've literally grown together, and I'm so happy you were chosen for me. I love you so much. Happy 10th birthday, King. Those words weren't just a caption. They were Tianna's truth. She saw her children as her legacy, her purpose, and her joy. Friends described her as the kind of mother who showed up for everything. School plays, football practices, parent-teacher conferences. She was the unofficial team photographer for the Burlington City Blue Devils, capturing moments of triumph and teamwork that families treasured. Her infectious energy drew people in, making her the center of any gathering. Tianna's impact extended beyond her family. In 2018, she took her organizational skills to the community, spearheading a fundraiser for the Burlington City Blue Devils youth football team. The team had earned a spot in the 7th annual Mid-Atlantic National Championship Series in Richmond, Virginia, and Tianna saw it as a chance to give the kids an experience they'd never forget. The boys have worked so hard to get here and are well deserving of the opportunity, she wrote in her fundraising appeal. Her efforts helped send the team to compete, a testament to her belief in the power of community and opportunity for children. At games, Tianna was a constant presence, cheering for every child on the field, not just her own. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and parents gravitated toward her warmth. She wasn't just a mom. She was a leader, a planner, and a friend. Her social media reflected a life filled with purpose, posts about her boys' achievements, community events, and her love for life's simple joys like a day at the beach or a new outfit. But beneath her vibrant exterior, there were hints of a more complex reality. Tianna's Facebook status listed her as single, a detail that stood out in contrast to Kristopher Corry's profile, which claimed he was in a relationship. Was this a sign of tension in their home? Friends later admitted they hadn't noticed anything alarming. No bruises, no overt signs of distress. Tianna's public persona was one of strength and joy. But what was happening when the cameras weren't flashing? Did the pressures of raising two active boys, managing finances, and maintaining her community role weigh heavier than she let on? Tianna's story is one of a woman who gave everything to those she loved. She was a mother who lived for her sons, a graduate who defied the odds, and a community member who brought people together. But her life was cut short in a way that no one could have predicted, leaving behind a legacy of love and two boys who would never see their mother again. To understand this tragedy, we must also understand Kristopher Corry, the man who was Tianna's partner and the father figure to her sons. At 30, Kristopher was a respected coach for the Burlington City Blue Devils, a role he took seriously. Parents entrusted their children to him, and fellow coaches admired his dedication. He always had a smile on his face, said King Johnson, vice president of the South Jersey Independent Youth Football Association. He had genuine interactions with the kids. You could tell he loved doing what he was doing. Kristopher's coaching wasn't just about football. He taught life lessons: perseverance, teamwork, respect. His teams went from underdogs to champions under his guidance, and his sideline presence was electric. He'd gather both teams after games to talk about sportsmanship, emphasizing choices and consequences. But his dedication to youth sports had deeper roots. In 2008, Kristopher's younger brother, Julian Pui Corry Jr., was killed during a fight at Garfield East Elementary School. The loss shaped Kristopher's life, pushing him to mentor young boys and teach them how to navigate conflict and emotions. Yet, despite his public role as a mentor, questions linger about the man he was behind closed doors. How could someone who preached emotional control lose it so completely? What was the private reality of his relationship with Tianna? The transition from New Year's Day 2020 to the early hours of January 2nd was supposed to be a time of celebration, a fresh start for Burlington Township. Families were recovering from holiday gatherings, and the Willow Point apartments were quiet, save for the occasional sound of a car pulling into the lot. But inside apartment 3B, a storm was brewing. A storm that would erupt into violence so brutal it would leave a community in shock. By a stroke of fortune, Tianna's sons, Juju and KJ, were not home that night. Whether by chance or deliberate planning, they were staying elsewhere, possibly with relatives celebrating the new year. This small mercy meant they were spared from witnessing the horror that unfolded. But for the neighbor downstairs, the night was anything but peaceful. Sometime in the late evening of January 1st, the neighbor below apartment 3B began to hear disturbing sounds. It started as raised voices, the kind of argument that might be dismissed as a couple's disagreement. But as the hours ticked by, the sounds escalated. Screams, raw, desperate, and unmistakably female, cut through the night. They weren't brief or fleeting. They were prolonged, relentless, and filled with fear. The neighbor, unable to sleep, grew increasingly alarmed. Her young son was with her, and the weight of the situation pressed heavily on her. By the early morning hours, the neighbor could no longer ignore the chilling certainty that something was terribly wrong. The screams weren't stopping. They weren't fading into apologies or silence. They were the sounds of domestic violence, unmistakable and terrifying. It sounded like someone was being hurt, she later told police, her voice heavy with the memory of that night. At 8:43 a.m. on January 2nd, the neighbor made the call that would set everything in motion. "This is crazy," she told the dispatcher, her voice tight with stress. "I'm calling to make a complaint about the couple over us. If you come right now, you will hear the lady screaming. It's been all night. I didn't sleep all night, me and my little son." The dispatcher pressed for details, and the neighbor's fear spilled out. She described the prolonged fighting, the screams that had kept her awake, and her belief that domestic violence was occurring. "I heard the lady screaming," she repeated, her exhaustion palpable. The call wasn't just a complaint, it was a plea for help, a desperate attempt to intervene in a situation that felt life-threatening. Within minutes, Burlington Township police arrived at Willow Point Apartments. The complex was quiet now, the screams replaced by an eerie silence. Officers approached apartment 3B, their knocks unanswered. The door, slightly ajar, hinted at something amiss. As they stepped inside, the scene they encountered was one of immediate horror. The apartment, once a warm family home, was now a crime scene. Furniture was overturned, signs of a struggle evident. In the bedroom, police found the bodies of Tianna Drummond and Kristopher Corry. Tianna, just 28, lay lifeless, her body bearing the marks of a brutal assault. Kristopher, 30, was nearby, a gunshot wound to his head telling a grim story. The silence that greeted the officers was heavier than any scream, a silence that spoke of finality. The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office took charge, and the initial assessment was chilling. Tianna had died from blunt force trauma, the result of a prolonged physical assault. Kristopher's death was ruled a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The scene pointed to a murder-suicide, a devastating conclusion that raised more questions than answers. What had happened in those final hours? What drove Kristopher to such violence? And why did he turn the gun on himself? The apartment told a story of chaos. Bloodstains marked the walls and floor, and personal belongings were scattered. The children's absence was a small blessing, but the absence of answers was a gaping wound. The neighbor's call had come too late to save Tianna, but it had brought the truth to light. Kristopher Corry was the only suspect in Tianna Drummond's murder. The evidence was clear. Tianna died from blunt force trauma, and Kristopher's death by a self-inflicted gunshot wound suggested he was responsible. But who was Kristopher Corry, really? How could a man who mentored children, who preached respect and control, commit such a heinous act? To the Burlington Township community, Kristopher was Coach Chris, a man who transformed young boys into athletes and taught them life lessons. His passion for coaching stemmed from personal tragedy, the loss of his brother Julian in 2008. That pain drove him to guide young players, to teach them how to handle conflict and emotions. But somewhere along the way, something broke. The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office confirmed the sequence of events. Kristopher killed Tianna before taking his own life. But the why remains elusive. No official motive was released, leaving room for speculation. Tianna's Facebook status listed her as single, while Kristopher's claimed he was in a relationship. This discrepancy suggests a rift. Was Tianna ready to leave? Did Kristopher feel possessive, driven by an "if I can't have you, no one can" mentality? Domestic violence often escalates when one partner seeks to end the relationship, and Tianna's strength and independence may have clashed with Kristopher's need for control. Raising two active boys, balancing work, and volunteering for the football team could have created immense pressure. Financial struggles, common in many households, can strain relationships to the breaking point. Did mounting stress push Kristopher to a breaking point? Kristopher's public persona was one of control and positivity, but mental health struggles are often invisible. The loss of his brother may have left deeper scars than anyone realized. Could untreated trauma or mental health issues have contributed to his actions? Some speculate Kristopher snapped in a moment of uncontrollable rage. The neighbor's description of hours of screaming suggests a prolonged altercation, not a sudden act. But what triggered it? An argument over the holidays? A personal betrayal? The lack of answers fuels speculation. Parents and coaches were blindsided. "Chris Corry was my motivation for what type of coach I want to be," one colleague wrote, crediting him with transforming a struggling team. How could the same man who taught kids about consequences commit such an act? Friends admitted they saw no warning signs, no bruises on Tianna, no overt aggression from Kristopher. Their social media showed a happy family, but social media is a curated facade. The absence of clear red flags raises chilling questions. Were there subtle signs missed? Did Tianna's vibrant personality mask her struggles? Did Kristopher's coaching role hide his capacity for violence? Murder-suicides are complex. According to experts, they often stem from a combination of control, desperation, and a distorted sense of ownership. Kristopher's act of killing Tianna before himself suggests a need to exert ultimate control, even in death. His public role as a coach may have created a pressure to maintain a perfect image, making it harder to seek help for private struggles. The neighbor's call suggests the violence wasn't sudden. It unfolded over hours. This prolonged assault points to a deliberate act, not a fleeting loss of control. Yet, his decision to end his own life suggests remorse or despair. Did he come back to his senses after the act, as some speculate? Or was the murder-suicide planned? When police entered apartment 3B on January 2, 2020, they faced a scene that demanded answers. The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office, led by experienced investigators, took charge. The initial findings were stark. Tianna Drummond died from blunt force trauma, the result of a brutal beating. Kristopher Corry died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. By January 6th, autopsies confirmed the deaths as a murder-suicide, with Tianna's death ruled a homicide. But the investigation didn't end there. Forensic teams combed the apartment, collecting blood samples, fingerprints, and physical evidence. The scene suggested a prolonged struggle. Furniture overturned, walls marked with blood. The absence of Tianna's sons was a critical detail, sparing them from the horror, but raising questions about timing. Was their absence planned, or a fortunate coincidence? The biggest twist in this case is the absence of a clear motive. Despite the thorough investigation, authorities never publicly disclosed what drove Kristopher to kill Tianna. No suicide note was reported, no history of documented domestic violence surfaced, and no witnesses provided insight into their private struggles. This void left the community grappling with unanswered questions. The lack of a motive fueled speculation. Social media posts from Tianna and Kristopher offered clues but no definitive answers. Tianna's single status and Kristopher's in a relationship claim suggested discord, but was it enough to lead to murder? Friends and family were interviewed, but no one reported seeing overt signs of trouble. The community's shock was compounded by the realization that even those closest to the couple hadn't seen this coming. The contrast between Kristopher's public persona and his actions dominated discussions. Parents who had trusted him with their children felt betrayed, while Tianna's friends mourned the loss of a vibrant woman. Social media became a space for grief and speculation, with posts questioning how such violence could go unnoticed. The media also highlighted the community's response, particularly the efforts to support Tianna's sons. Darnell Ball Sr., a community member, organized a skating party fundraiser to raise money for Juju and KJ. A GoFundMe campaign gained traction, drawing contributions from beyond Burlington Township. These acts of kindness became a beacon of hope in a dark story, but they couldn't erase the questions. The autopsies provided clarity on the cause of death, but little else. Tianna's injuries indicated a sustained assault, suggesting Kristopher's actions were deliberate. The gunshot wound to Kristopher's head was consistent with a self-inflicted injury, likely from a handgun found at the scene. But without a note or prior reports of violence, investigators were left with a puzzle missing key pieces. One lingering mystery is the role of mental health. Kristopher's brother's death in 2008 may have left unresolved trauma, but no records indicate he sought treatment. Was there a history of domestic violence that went unreported? Did Tianna confide in anyone about struggles at home? The absence of answers underscores the hidden nature of domestic issues, even in tight-knit communities. As of May 20th, 2025, the Willow Point tragedy remains a closed case. The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office ruled the deaths a murder-suicide, with no further suspects or ongoing investigations. The lack of a clear motive continues to haunt those who knew Tianna and Kristopher, but the focus has shifted to healing and supporting the survivors, Juju and KJ. The community's response has been a testament to its strength. The fundraiser organized by Darnell Ball Sr. and the GoFundMe campaign raised significant funds to support Tianna's sons, who are now in the care of relatives. Community members continue to honor Tianna's memory through events like youth football tournaments dedicated to her and her boys. The true tragedy of this case lies in its impact on Juju, now 15, and KJ, now 10. These boys lost their mother and the man they knew as a father figure in a single night. Tianna's birthday message to Juju, "The most important mark I will leave on this world is my son," now carries unbearable weight. The community has rallied around them, but no amount of support can replace what they've lost. Their childhoods were forever altered, their sense of safety shattered. The Burlington Township community has vowed to ensure Juju and KJ are supported, from financial contributions to emotional care. But the scars of this tragedy will linger, a reminder of the fragility of life and the hidden struggles that can erupt without warning. The Willow Point tragedy is a stark reminder of the hidden nature of domestic violence. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1 in 4 women experience physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Warning signs: social withdrawal, changes in behavior, unexplained injuries, are often subtle and easily missed. Tianna's case underscores the importance of vigilance and intervention. The neighbor's 911 call, though too late to save Tianna, was a courageous act that brought the truth to light. Communities must foster environments where people feel safe to report concerns and seek help. Mental health support, accessible counseling, and awareness campaigns can prevent tragedies like this. Burlington Township's response shows the power of collective action, but it also highlights the need for proactive measures before violence escalates. Tianna Drummond was a light in Burlington Township, a mother, a graduate, a community builder. Her love for her sons, Juju and KJ, was her legacy, and her contributions to her community will not be forgotten. She deserved a future filled with the joy she gave others, but that future was stolen. We honor her memory by remembering her strength, her warmth, and her unbreakable spirit. This case leaves us with a question that demands action. What steps can communities take to recognize and address the warning signs of domestic violence before it's too late? Have you ever noticed subtle changes in a friend or neighbor that concerned you? What did you do? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a conversation about awareness and prevention. If this story moved you, give it a like and share it to spread awareness. Subscribe to Dark Truth Files for more in-depth true crime stories, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the darkness. Until next time, stay safe.